Frozen relation. This opinion examines two recent developments deepening tensions between Pakistan and India. Two recent developments have reinforced the fraught relationship between Pakistan and India, which makes the prospect bleak for any thaw in their ties. Fraught relationship is a phrase meaning filled with tension and conflict. Bleak is an adjective meaning without hope or encouraging prospects. This opening sentence serves as the thesis statement by asserting that recent events have made any improvement in bilateral relations very unlikely. The first concerns the terrorist attack and hijacking of the Jafar Express train in Balochistan, and statements that followed from Pakistani officials. Terrorist attack refers to a violent act by extremists intended to instill fear. Hijacking means forcibly seizing control of a vehicle, in this case, a train. This sentence means that one key development is the violent incident on the Jafar Express and the subsequent official reactions. The second development involves Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's allegations in a podcast that Pakistan is waging a proxy war against his country. Proxy war is a term meaning a conflict where external powers support opposing sides without fighting directly. This sentence means that the other significant event is Modi's claim, made on a podcast, that Pakistan is indirectly fighting against India. This war of words is, of course, nothing new, but its re-eruption makes it even harder to overcome the protracted diplomatic impasse between the two countries. War of words is an idiomatic expression meaning a heated verbal exchange. Re-eruption implies that these disputes have flared up again after a period of relative calm. Protracted diplomatic impasse refers to a long-standing deadlock in official relations. This sentence means that although verbal conflicts are common, the renewed intensity deepens the existing stalemate in diplomacy. Following the terrorist incident in Balochistan, Pakistan's military spokesman accused India of complicity, saying the country's eastern neighbor has long been involved in fomenting such violence and supporting militant groups. Complicity means involvement in wrongdoing. Fomenting is a verb meaning to instigate or stir up. This sentence means that after the train hijacking, Pakistani officials blamed India for allegedly instigating violence by backing militants. These accusations echo what Islamabad has consistently said about Indian interference. The arrest of RAW operative Kulbhushan Jadhav in 2016 being incontrovertible evidence of this. Echo is a verb meaning to repeat or reflect. RAW operative refers to a member of India's research and analysis wing. Incontrovertible is an adjective meaning undeniable or indisputable. This sentence means that Pakistan's claims are reinforced by past incidents, notably the Kulbhushan Jadhav case. The Indian naval officer who was convicted of espionage had confessed to his role in subversive activities in Pakistan and assisting Balak militant groups. This sentence means that the case of the naval officer who admitted to espionage further supports Islamabad's narrative of Indian interference. India predictably rejected the latest allegations by Pakistani officials as baseless, saying Pakistan should instead look inwards. Predictably means as expected. Baseless is an adjective meaning without foundation. Look inwards is a phrasal verb meaning to focus on one's internal issues. This sentence means that India dismissed Pakistan's accusations, arguing that the problems lie within Pakistan. In a podcast with Lex Friedman, broadcast on March 16th, Prime Minister Modi's lengthy remarks about the tense relationship with Pakistan added to the toxic environment between the two countries. Lengthy remarks means extended statements. Toxic environment is a metaphor meaning an atmosphere of hostility and mistrust. This sentence means that Modi's extended comments on the strained relations worsened the hostile climate. He attributed the troubled bilateral relationship to Pakistan's pursuit of state-sponsored terrorism and insincere peace efforts over decades. State-sponsored terrorism is a term referring to terrorist acts allegedly supported by a government. Insincere peace efforts means attempts at peace that lack genuine commitment. This sentence means that Modi blamed Pakistan for its own aggressive policies and shallow peace initiatives. Claiming India had made peace moves, but they were met by betrayal by Pakistan, which had not chosen the path of peaceful coexistence. He described Pakistan as the epicenter of turmoil. Betrayal is a noun meaning the act of being disloyal. Epicenter is a term meaning the focal point of a crisis. This sentence means that Modi portrayed Pakistan as the main source of regional instability due to its failure to pursue genuine peace. This was familiar rhetoric, but its strident reiteration at this juncture injected more strains into the relationship. Strident is an adjective meaning harsh or forcefully assertive. Reiteration means the act of repeating something. This sentence means that while such language is not new, its renewed use has further strained India-Pakistan ties. The outlook for any India-Pakistan normalization remains bleak. This sentence means that, given the current developments, there is little hope for an improvement in relations. Modi's comments, in fact, reinforce the narrative India has increasingly built against Islamabad. This sentence means that Modi's remarks strengthen India's long-standing argument blaming Pakistan for regional problems. This places the blame entirely on Pakistan for the slide in relations, as well as shifts the onus on it for any resumption of normal diplomatic relations. Onus is a noun meaning responsibility or burden. This sentence means that India's position forces Pakistan to bear the full responsibility for any future improvements in ties. It is also part of a strategy to mount pressure on Pakistan in what is seen by many in India as a moment of vulnerability. This sentence means that Modi's remarks are designed to exploit Pakistan's perceived weaknesses. This is also indicated by the way the Indian media went into overdrive after the Balochistan terror attack in what seemed an orchestrated and hyper coverage of the incident. Overdrive is a noun meaning an excessive level of activity. Hyper coverage is a phrase meaning overly detailed media attention. This sentence means that Indian media's intense focus on the incident signals a deliberate effort to pressure Pakistan. All this leaves relations between the two neighbors in an uncertain and unstable place. This sentence means that these events have plunged India-Pakistan ties into further unpredictability. In the absence of formal dialogue, suspended now for well over 5 years, and given the nature of issues driving present tensions, a back channel may be useful to manage tensions and avert the risk of miscalculation by either side. Back channel is a term referring to unofficial, informal communication routes between leaders. This sentence means that although official talks are on hold, informal communications could help prevent accidental escalation. Islamabad seems interested in putting such a mechanism in place and has conveyed this informally through the Track 2 process, which involves exchanges between former officials and other participants from the two countries. Track 2 process is a term for unofficial dialogue involving non-governmental actors. This sentence means that Pakistan is considering unofficial talks to ease tensions. In a Track 2 interaction held in London in late February, the Indian side did not respond to Pakistan's back-channel suggestion. This sentence means that when Pakistan proposed informal dialogue, India declined to engage. Instead, it said this could be discussed at the leadership level, either on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in July or UNGA in September. UNGA stands for the United Nations General Assembly. This sentence means that India prefers to defer such discussions to major international gatherings, keeping official channels closed. That, of course, is if the two prime ministers meet. This sentence means that any progress depends on a direct meeting between the leaders of India and Pakistan. At the official level, the Indian view is that existing arrangements are adequate to manage or prevent any crisis, and a formal back channel is not required for now. This sentence means that India argues that its current methods of communication suffice to handle crises, so no new channels are needed. The reference seems to be to communication that has taken place on an ad hoc basis between Rawalpindi and India's National Security Advisor when tensions escalated in the past. Ad hoc is an idiomatic expression meaning improvised or made for a specific purpose. This sentence means that past informal communications between officials have been used to manage crises. The last time this happened was during the BrahMos incident in March 2022, when India accidentally fired a missile from Ambala that landed in Mian Chanu in Pakistan. This sentence means that a similar incident occurred in 2022, demonstrating the risks of miscalculation between the two nations. The dangerous situation was quickly diffused and a crisis averted. This sentence means that prompt action prevented the escalation of that missile incident into a full-blown crisis. There are several obstacles to the resumption of formal talks between the nuclear neighbors. This sentence means that multiple issues continue to hinder official dialogue between India and Pakistan. The biggest hurdle is the seemingly unbridgeable gap in the two countries' positions on occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Unbridgeable gap is an idiomatic expression meaning an insurmountable difference. Occupied Jammu and Kashmir refers to the disputed region annexed by India in 2019. This sentence means that the core dispute over Kashmir remains the major barrier to normalizing relations. Relations, in fact, broke down when India illegally annexed, bifurcated, and absorbed the disputed state of Jammu and Kashmir into the Indian Union on August 5, 2019, in violation and defiance of UN Security Council resolutions. Bifurcated means split into two parts. This sentence means that India's unilateral actions in 2019 led to a complete breakdown in relations, contradicting international law. Delhi's action, accompanied by a sweeping set of repressive measures, prompted Pakistan to suspend trade and downgrade diplomatic ties by recalling its High Commissioner. This sentence means that India's moves led Pakistan to take strong diplomatic and economic retaliatory actions. The Modi government's post-2019 actions in J&K further intensified tensions with Pakistan. This sentence means that subsequent policies in Jammu and Kashmir worsened the already strained relationship. India wants Pakistan's acceptance of August 5, 2019, to be the starting point for any re-engagement and is not willing to show any flexibility, much less offer any concessions. Concessions means compromises or compromises in policy. This sentence means that India insists on accepting its annexation of Kashmir as a precondition for any renewed dialogue. Its officials have repeatedly said the Kashmir problem has been resolved, and there is nothing to negotiate with Pakistan. This sentence means that India claims the Kashmir issue is settled, leaving no room for further negotiation. In August 2024, Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar declared the era of uninterrupted dialogue with Pakistan is over. So far as J&K is concerned, abrogation of Article 370 is done. Article 370 inches refers to the constitutional provision granting special status to Jammu and Kashmir. This sentence means that India's official statement in 2024 asserted that the special status of Kashmir has been permanently removed. This take-it-or-leave-it approach puts Pakistan in a dilemma. This sentence means that India's uncompromising stance forces Pakistan into a difficult position regarding negotiations. However much the current Pakistani leadership may want to move towards a modus vivendi with India, it cannot abandon its principled position on Kashmir. Modus vivendi is a Latin phrase meaning a way of living or an arrangement that allows conflicting parties to coexist peacefully. This sentence means that even if Pakistan desires a temporary peace, it cannot compromise on its core stance over Kashmir. Relegating Kashmir to the back burner to resume other aspects of the relationship, such as trade, will enable Delhi to construe that as Pakistan's de facto acceptance of its August 2019 action. Back burner is an idiomatic expression meaning to postpone or set aside. De facto means in fact, or essentially, even if not legally recognized. This sentence means that ignoring the Kashmir issue would be interpreted by India as implicit agreement with its annexation. How to square this circle remains a vexing policy challenge. Square this circle is an idiomatic expression meaning to solve a seemingly impossible problem. Vexing means causing annoyance or difficulty. This sentence means that resolving the Kashmir dispute is an extremely difficult policy issue. Nevertheless, working-level engagement on practical issues continues through diplomatic missions in both capitals. This sentence means that despite the stalemate, low-level diplomatic efforts persist between the two countries. This led in October 2024 to renewal of the agreement on Kartarpur corridor for another 5 years to enable Indian Sikh pilgrims to visit the holy site. Kartarpur corridor is a term referring to the visa-free border crossing for Sikh pilgrims between India and Pakistan. This sentence means that practical cooperation, such as the Kartarpur corridor, has been renewed to benefit cultural and religious exchange. This was done at New Delhi's request. This sentence means that India initiated the renewal of the Kartarpur agreement. Issuance of visas by both sides for visits to religious sites has been another area of cooperation, as has release of fishermen who stray into each other's territorial waters. This sentence means that mutual visa issuance and the release of fishermen represent further instances of low-level bilateral engagement. This low-level diplomatic channel obviously can't produce a thaw. This sentence means that while practical cooperation exists, it is insufficient to resolve the overall hostile relationship. The relationship can only be extricated from its frozen state by the leadership on both sides who show the will and accommodation needed to bring this about. This sentence means that only top-level political commitment can overcome the current impasse. But for now, the Indian leadership seems to have concluded that disengagement with Pakistan better serves its interests. This sentence means that India currently prefers to distance itself from Pakistan rather than engage in substantive dialogue. The BJP government also sees a political advantage in constantly demonizing Pakistan, as this reinforces its Hindutva agenda. Demonizing is a verb meaning to portray as evil. Hindutva agenda refers to the ideology focused on Hindu nationalism. This sentence means that the Indian ruling party benefits politically by perpetuating a negative image of Pakistan. That completes the explanation for outlook for any India-Pakistan normalization remains bleak. Would you like any further adjustments or additional details?